Hey everybody, welcome to The Warp. I'm Jack Rita, and this is the sixth video in the series that covers all of the special systems that would have been part of Expansion 8, which we codenamed Cosmic Universe. And special systems are the reimagination and re-implementation of the reverse hex system idea that was originally part of Expansion 9 in the Eon version of Cosmic Encounter, as well as the base game of Mayfair. So it was the backsides of the hexes had unique systems, and those gave you a special unique advantage, usually when you were on defense in that system, but sometimes in other ways as well. And as part of the design that we were undergoing for Expansion 8, we designed 42 special systems, and we've been doing blocks of 7, and this is the last one. This is video 6, last 7, and these are probably the craziest of the systems, as you will quickly see as we dive into them. But a lot of these are my favorite systems, so I hope that you will enjoy them as much as I do. They're a lot of fun, and these are some of the ones that I think a lot of the playtesters enjoyed as well. So we'll get into it here, and we're going to start with white down here. And as you can see, it's got some special tokens, only uses 4 of the planets, and it's called the gravity system. So the way this works is at the start of each player's regroup, you, as the gravity player, can move a ship of that player on any of the normal planets in your player color into one of the adjacent dead tokens. So there are 3 dead tokens. There's a dead planet, a dead star, and a dead comet. So, for instance, if they have got ships here, then at the start of a regroup, you can move one of their ships to the dead planet. And if they were here, you could go either to the star or to the dead planet. So that's how that movement works. Additionally, we'll see. So ships on a dead planet or a dead token are not considered part of any colony, and that player suffers the penalties below, which we'll get to. So additionally, here we go. Whenever any player sends ships into your system as an offensive player during launch or an offensive ally in the alliance phase, they must divert one of their ships to a dead token adjacent to the targeted planet. So again, if you're the offense and you've targeted this planet here, and you're launching your ships, you're going to want to launch more than one because you have to put one of them on to the adjacent dead token. So if you're targeting this planet here, that's the token. And again, if you're targeting this one, you have your choice of which one you want to place it. And that would be for your allies as well on the offense. The ship that you divert is no longer in the encounter. But players may remove ships from dead tokens when normally moving ships, so it's not a total wash. But here's what happens. When you have ships on the dead planet, you need an additional foreign colony to win the game. So you're going to want to get that one off there as soon as you can. If they're on the dead star, then your ships cannot leave the warp for any reason. No regrouping, no Mobius tubes for you. And if they're on the dead comet, then they may not cancel their color when drawing destiny, and if no encounter is possible, that player's turn ends. So yeah, it's that's just probably the one that most people are going to go after because you're like, well, I'll risk it. And if they this is probably one of the ones they don't want to get on there. This is also pretty bad. So I love this one. I love the artwork for it as well. But I really enjoy this idea of these dead objects have been just sucked into this system because of the gravity here, and now everyone's got to deal with it. And for here is a reminder. I put little icons on there, so there's a little gate here that once again you can't cancel your own color. Here's you can't get out of the warp, put the little warp signal here, and then you've got the foreign colony marker there. This was not necessarily final art, so this is just temporary art that I did. So that is the gravity system. All right, moving over, we have Bizarro system, and this is one that was also cooked up by Jefferson Crow, one of the designers on Cosmic Dominion, and as I let him know I was working on this, he pitched some ideas, and we'll see another one in a moment here. So the Bizarro system, you just have your planets, and what's going to happen is it's just weird things happen when you are involved. So it says as any player. I think we're going to limit this to defense. So whenever the hyperspace gate is aimed at a planet in the system, I guess as any player, because you as the offense could do it, probably main player, but whatever. It's just everything is bizarro. So any revealed negotiate card is an attack 13, but any attack over 13 it becomes a negotiate, and it doesn't trigger that. It's just you revealed it. Then it is what it is later. Allies always get reverse rewards, so that means that if you're helping to attack and you win, you get rewards like ships out of the warp or cards from the cosmic deck or the reward deck. And if you're helping the defense and the defense wins, you get a colony on the targeted planet. Anyone who would normally receive compensation must instead give cards at random to their opponent. And if there's a failed deal, you both retrieve 3 ships from the warp, although not if you have any tokens, any of your ships on this dead star, if it happens to be in the game. So that is how the Bizarro one works. It's just a weird system where weird things happen. This one doesn't necessarily, we have it as a yellow alert, and that's probably about right. I don't think it needs to be red. Some of these other ones probably would end up being red. Like this one here. Well, I have it as yellow, but an argument could be made. So the Eldritch system, the way this works is you only have 3 of your normal planets, and then you have these triangular Eldritch planets. So if a player has a colony on one of the normal planets in your system, they are penalized whenever they are a main player, and that is that during the launch phase, their opponent draws a card at random from their hand for each colony, home colony or foreign colony on the adjacent triangular Eldritch world. So there's an Eldritch world that's adjacent to each of these planets. So if, for instance, there's 2 colonies on this Eldritch world and someone has a colony on this planet here, 2 colonies means that they will draw 2 cards at random, and they just get discarded. So nobody gets them. It's just it's a resource drag on you. And of course, if they have a colony on an Eldritch world, they're penalized whenever they're an ally. And they just, when their side loses an encounter as an ally, they lose 1 additional ship from all of their colonies. Any or all, I guess, is how that would really work out. Outside of the Eldritch system. So not from any of these colonies, but some others. So as the Eldritch player, you really have to police everybody and keep track of oh, you're an ally now. So remember, you have a colony on this Eldritch planet. So if you lose, you're losing an extra ship. And so, yeah, this one, yellow is probably fine. And again, I just love the artwork for this one. Just really cool. These Eldritch Planet tokens, again, those are temporary. So not the final art, probably something closer to that one. But there you have it. And here's the other Jefferson Crow system idea that he and I worked on. Warp Worlds system. So, and you'll notice that they don't have any planets here. So whenever you draw yellow, you are actually going to be attacking the warp. And you'll notice that yellow has their ships next to these circles. So on the actual warp token, you've got the numbers are along the side here. So you would just put them right off of the warp there next to, and you distribute them however you want. So you can see we've got 5 next to 0. 2 here, 5 there. Probably I'd have more next to this one, as you will see here in a minute. Maybe another one of those. So you're distributing them how you like. And so what happens is, in these ships, they don't count as being in the warp. And you can still be in the warp as the Warp World system. So as you are doing stuff and you are losing, ships, they'll go to the warp normally. So not to worry. The offense, other than you, whenever you're drawing their color, they have to target the lowest numbered planet where they do not have a colony. So what that means is, if early in the game you've drawn yellow, well, you're attacking 0. You have to target the lowest numbered planet. So now if at some point you're like green is the one and they're like, great, I've got a colony here. Next time they attack yellow, they'll be targeting 1 because that's the next lowest number that doesn't they don't have, where they don't have a colony. Um, if the offense wins the encounter, players do not get to land on the targeted planet unless they already have at least one ship in the warp and have a colony on each planet of a lower number. If they do not, their ships go to the warp if they have none there, and then they go to the lowest numbered planet where they do not have a colony. Um, so yeah, what this means is, if this is the first time, um, you're attacking, if you don't have any ships in the warp, you're you just even if you win, you're going to the warp. Now, next time green is here, they will get to land on this planet. But if white is allied with them, if they don't have any ships in the warp, they'll go to the warp, and if they do, they'll go to the zero planet. So, and the next time green attacks, yellow, they'll target the 2, and likewise, they have to make sure that they still have a ship on this one. Otherwise, they don't get to land on the 2. In fact, they wouldn't even be able to target the 2 unless they had ships there. So, but here's the trade-off. The number of the planet is also how many foreign colonies a colony there is worth. So if you have a colony here on the 0, you don't move up 1 because this one is worth 0. But if you have a colony there, that one's worth 1. But if green gets a colony here, it's worth 2. So now they're up to 3. So, it does pay to keep attacking. And then, if they've got a colony on number 3, that colony is worth 3. So that would catapult them. Now, of course, if they lost this one, well, you adjust accordingly. And of course, the next time that you win, you would have to occupy this planet because it's the lowest one where you do not have a colony. But yeah, a couple of, you get lucky with being able to keep attacking yellow. Eventually it will pay off. But early on, yeah, you're not going to have any joy there. Now, when granting a colony is part of a deal, you may grant a colony on any of your numbered planets where you have a colony, even if the player has no ships in the warp. So effects that grant colonies your system must also colonize from the lowest numbered planets. So, yeah, I mean, if you're making a deal, they can say, yeah, I'll tell you what, I will give you, making a deal here with purple, I'll give you a colony here, and that would be worth 2 to you. So you're like, oh, great, and they could say, no, I'll give you a colony here, and you're like, wow, I'm with 1 colony, I'm almost ready to win. So you can see how this is a little bit bizarro too. So that's how Jefferson's mind works. But I love it. I love this. I think it's great. There was the idea with in the 90s there was a special hex art for the warp, for Warpish, and it was colonies around the warp. Not that it had anything to do with anything, but we all we knew about that, and we liked that idea of it being its own kind of special system. So now we have that. All right, moving on over here. Blue has the Oort Cloud system. So this one is after hands are dealt, you're going to draw a total of 5 cards randomly from any of the following decks, even if they're not in the game. So from the Cosmic deck, Reward deck, Space Stations, or Moons. And you placed a card. So here for this example, I've got 1 from the Cosmic deck, 2 from the Reward deck, and I've got 2 moons. And even it's a game where moons are not normally involved. So when the hyperspace gate is aimed at any of your planets, you may offer the card behind the targeted planet, even revealing it if you want. If you do, your opponent may offer you anything that they could give you as part of a deal. And if a deal is made, you skip to resolution, and the encounter ends as a success for the offense. If your opponent does not wish to make a deal, you will gain the card if you win the encounter. Otherwise, it's discarded. So cards that represent variants not in the game will add that variant, and then you replenish during regroup if you don't have a card behind any of your planets. And it's from any of those decks, so you could just be like, yeah, I'm just going to go all moons the whole time, or all space stations. It makes for a very unusual and interesting game. And, it's just, who knows what's out there in the Oort Cloud being coughed up into the solar system. So that's how that one works. This one here is the Engineer system. This is another one of my favorites as well. So it's got a really crazy setup. You only have 3 of your normal player color planets, and then you have a wedge here, and then there's 2 more wedges and 4 more planets waiting in the wings. So what's going to happen is every regroup, each regroup, you may either add a wedge to one already in play if there are fewer than 3 in a group, convert a group of 3 wedges into a new planet, or convert a normal planet of your player color into a single wedge. So you could say, you know what, I'm going to, and you probably don't want to do it with your ships on there because they would go to the warp, but you might be like, we're going to destroy this planet, and we're going to make it into a wedge. But again, you really don't want to do that if got all your wedges are over here. So let's go back in here. So unused wedges are kept on the sheet. Players cannot have attack or have colonies on a wedge. All ships on a planet converted into a wedge are sent to the warp, as I mentioned. So whenever you create a new planet, you may either use one of your special planet tokens or a normal planet of your color. So you might have decided to destroy this planet at one point to make it into a wedge. But then later on, when you're like putting all your wedges together, you say, yeah, I'm just going to bring in a normal planet. But usually you're going to want to bring in one of these special planets. So you can never have more than 5 planets in your system, and each time you create a new planet, you may move up to 4 of your ships from any single planet of your normal color to the new planet. So it's all coming from one planet over. So you've got these 4 worlds, the Serenity world. So when you occupy that, no matter, or it doesn't, once that planet is in, doesn't matter if you occupy it enough, no matter what cards are revealed in an encounter targeting this world, a deal situation arises. So you're always going to be making a deal when someone is attacking the Serenity planet. If they attack the Warp Gate planet, so during their regroups, players with a colony here may retrieve the number of ships they have on this planet from the warp. So that's a big deal. You have the resource world. So when you draw a new hand, you may draw an additional card for each ship you have on this planet. So that's just you. That's nobody else. And then the military outpost, you may add the number of ships you have on this planet to your encounter totals as offense. And that's optional, so you don't have to do that. So the idea here is that, you're takes a couple of regroups to like, boom, I've got that. And then the next regroup, you can say, yeah, I've just built, what one do I want here? Let's say the military outpost. So I do that, and I'm like, yes, I'm going to bring some of these guys over. So now I've got a new home colony here. And on the next regroup, you can start it up again. You can say, yeah, I want to do that. Or let's say you moved everybody over here, and somebody had a colony here, and you're like, let's destroy this planet and make it into a wedge. So you'd be like, yeah, this one's gone. Might make it later on, but now it's a wedge. And you're going to be slowly building up these improved planets that the planet engineers, and again, the artwork, I just love this idea. And then, my son did all this artwork, so props to him. So that's the engineers world. This next one it's the last one, and it's one of the craziest ones. As you can see a little bit from the setup, we only have 3 planets for orange, and then we have an extra set of ships around, and that matches our diagram. This is the spiral system. So you're going to take ships and you're going to arrange them the way that they are located here. And when another player attacks your system and wins, players must land ships onto the spiral ships around your planets before landing on the planet itself. So starting with the offense and going clockwise, players stack ships one at a time from the topmost spiral ship, considered the outer end of the spiral, per the black arrow. And then if more ships are landing than there are spiral ships, the additional ships get to land on the planet per the white arrow. So let's talk about what that means. Let's give you an example here. So we're attacking probably this one because it only has 6 ships on it. And so we'll say that, red is bringing in, they're like, well, I'm going to attack with 2 ships. And I invited a few others, and blue is like, yeah, get me on there. And green is going to send some ships. And let's say that their side wins. So what'll happen is red has to land first, and they go whoop like this and like that. And then we say, who is next? And it's going to be blue. So blue also is like, well, I'm going here, I'm going here, I'm going there, and here. And green, and in this example, orange is completely off. green gets to land, and so they get the colony right away. But these guys are not stuck here, so each regroup, a player whose ship is farthest out on a spiral may jump from one end of the spiral inward toward the planet, landing on the next available spiral ship closest to the planet or onto the planet itself. So, um, yeah, what will happen is red would get to go straight onto the planet because there's no empties here. But if blue is like, yeah, I'm moving this guy on, well, actually, you'd have to start from out here. So they would get to land on one, and red would have to go over to here if they were going afterwards. So that's what that means. That's how this is supposed to work. So yes, the next time blue can be like, great, and red is like, blast, so slow getting on here. And so they're like, maybe I'll just bring one ship as the offense. So yeah, there's a little bit of a deterrent factor there because the offense knows that they're screwed. But if and this next time, if somebody attacks, if the offense brings four ships, they would go one here, one there, and then one would get onto the planet. So yeah, it's crazy. But I really like the idea. So whenever you would land your ships on one of your home planets, you may divert one or more of them into the spiral in the above manner. So Orange can be like, yeah, let's do that as well. I'm not sure why. There's reasons why they would. In this particular configuration, maybe not. But if a player ever jumps your ships, you gain a reward for each ship that was jumped. So yeah, you do want to get your ships in there, now that I remember. So you're like, yeah, let's get you. Red's going to jump all the way onto the planet, but they had to jump over you to do that, so you're getting a reward. So yeah, the spiral is also bizarre. The spiral system, I really like this one as well. It's very strange, and that's why it's red alert. So this is the one, people are like, all right, wait, what's going on? And so it's a little bit crazy, but yeah, there you have it. These, so now we're, if there's a link to the other videos here in the description. But now you've had a chance to see all 42 of the designs that were in there. And like I said, we were still in the middle of play testing all of this when we got the bad news that Fantasy Flight didn't want to move forward. And as I've been saying in all of these Cosmic Universe videos, feel free to send your emails or letters or whatever to Fantasy Flight, letting them know how much you would want this. If you do, if you're like, no, this is too crazy for me, that's fine. It's certainly not for everyone. But there was a lot of cool stuff altogether that we wanted to put into the expansion. A lot of new aliens as well. But I really like the special systems. I just love what it does to shake up the game, and it really does make everybody's player color feel like it's unique. And I love the crazy configurations and the special tokens and the weird stuff going on. This is one of the things I love most about Cosmic Encounter. So I'm a big fan of this kind of thing, and I'm a completist. So I've been waiting with bated breath for some kind of reverse hex thing. I think that everything that Fantasy Flight has done with the previous variants has done a great job. And part of that is I'm tooting my own horn, but I think that that was the opportunity. It's a new edition of Cosmic Encounter. Let's reimagine some of the old variants and make them better. Some of the old aliens, and see if we can make them better as well. And so that was the objective. And for a while, there were only 6 reverse hexes in the Eon days. And of course, there were only 6 in the Mayfair days as well. They weren't the exact same. So it was like, oh, we've got 8 now or whatever. But at a time in the 90s when we had the way to print out new components and stuff for, I had my own completely custom printed version of Cosmic Encounter. We had some more systems, and so that always has appealed to me, and I'm very happy to have these. I've been making them for my real life version, but at least I've got a TTS version that is playable, and we will eventually just release all this stuff for everybody, and they can make their own components or do what they want. But I'd rather see it being official and canon and legitimately published. So maybe one day, I'd love to see it as a crowd-funded thing. I think that's the best way to do it. It's the best way to know for sure if enough people even want the reverse hexes and the special systems and the new aliens. And of course, the big draw for me with that expansion was the idea of one box to rule them all, fit everything. We were talking about, it's cosmic universe, and the box fit the entire universe in it. So that was the gimmick. So yes, let us know in the comments what you think and what is your favorite special system. What's your favorite out of this batch of 7? But what's your favorite overall? Let us know. That's it for this one, everyone. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.